Thank you for staying with us. I'm sure you've heard this expression many times, that there are no bad children. There are only bad parents. Oh, dear.
I have a question mark on that. Is that bad parents or bad parenting?
Exactly. It's not bad it's bad parenting. And that's different.
Exactly.
Those expressions are very different. You can be good parents and still not parent your children properly. You can be good people, rather, and not parent your children properly. But at the end of the day, the children are yours, so the buck will still stop at your table regarding how they turn out at the end of the day. Parenthood, they say, is a thankless job, but you have brought the children into the world, and guess what? You have to, after bringing them into, you have to bring them up. So they become your responsibility, and whatever they make of themselves at the end of the day will be traced back to you. You know, these millennials, they're a different cup of tea altogether. But I'm not going to make any comment. I'm going to leave it to our guest, who is a family life consultant, Mrs. Motolani Falabi.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start by asking you, what is a family life cycle? I saw that and I've been trying, even though there's some explanation, I still don't understand what it means.
Okay, so when we're talking about family life cycle, you're talking about from when the child is born, from when this child is beginning to work, from when the formative years, basically to the teenage years, to the singlehood, where this child is planning to be married to someone, and then they eventually get married, and then they move into parenting, and then they transition into being grandparents themselves, and then retirement.
And then they
basically.
die.
Yes.
Okay. All
So,
right.
and all those are different stages of humanity, of human life. So from when you're giving birth to when one, finally dies.
Now, let me ask, does this ring a bell? I saw was it a video or a photograph of the human being from crawling? He stands up, he walks straight, and then he bends.
Again.
And then he goes back and he crawls again.
That's a cycle.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. And it's a reality that, it's scary to look at. And just as you said, those realities happen different phases of life. But the interesting thing here, and this is where the question is coming in, is that at the time of birth, life, society, the environment is in a particular way or in a particular state. But as you grow older, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, things change. Things evolve. So how you were parented would naturally be the children. As a child, you can't expect your children to be the same way the way you were. Consequently, parenting syllabus has to change.
Of course.
Because when you were growing up...
There's no manual for it.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. When you were growing up, the iPad was a slate.
Tell me about it. Because my children have always asked me,
how did you guys cope?
What kind of games, what did you do when you were a child? There were no video games.
They had a typewriter.
There was no color TV. You had nonsense black and white TV. And it closed at 9 o'clock or something.
And opened at 4 p.m. You didn't tell them.
What did you all do?
Okay.
I said, we played 10-10 and we listened to Tales by Moonlight, wretched people.
So it raises questions around parenting because the parents weren't raised on the things they are raising their children with. How much of a challenge is that in terms of parenting?
First of all, parents need to know that times have changed. The world has moved.
Well, we know. Whether
you
we
use
want to or not.
typewriter.
They try to move because they get computers and they teach themselves how to use the computer, but the kids are still way ahead.
So when I hear parents make statements like, oh, these children have changed, it's not the children who has changed. It's the world in total that has changed. And now you need to move with that trend. So for mommy now, I didn't meet slate. I didn't get to use slate.
You don't even know what it looked like.
Well, I know chalkboards, but I'm not sure of slate. I'm not sure that I use that.
Okay.
So then they use typewriter. Okay, please.
And you don't know what a pen holder is or an inkwell.
Come on.
That's what I'm idea.
That's ancient. No, it's not just history. It's ancient
I'm
history.
a dinosaur.
So a slate was like, say, 12 by 6-inch tablet. It's wood. It's black.
When you say tablets, they're wondering I'm sure they're thinking about something else.
No.
Our tablet is from your tablet.
Something like this.
It's
in
like
wood.
this.
Okay,
in wood.
It's
and
the
it's black.
same shape as your tablets. On one side, you have A, B, C to Z, and 1, 2, 3 to maybe 10 or 20.
No, sometimes it's blank.
Yeah, on the other side,
and you do the
it's
writing
black.
on it.
On the other side
With
is
a
black.
chalk.
So, yeah, then you write with a chalk. The chalk is the stylus. What your stylus today. So now you know. You can go look for it. But you know, then the slates they use in their generation were not as intelligent or smart as what we have today.
Intelligent.
So those tools have changed.
Yes.
So many things have changed. The grandmas today are wondering what's all this technology about. But they have to raise children in this environment. How much of a challenge is that?
First of all, we as parents need to understand that, like I said earlier, the world has changed and the world has moved. That we are aware that it has moved does not mean that we now know how to navigate it. Oftentimes, we want to talk to our children, rather, or relate with them how we were parented. We want to parent. It wouldn't work that way because times have changed. You need to understand that they were born into technology. So you give a 1-year-old baby your phone. He would unlock your phone. It's just 1 year. You didn't even have a phone until probably you're 30 or you're 40 before you even have an idea what a phone is. They were born into this technology. So you want to pay attention. You want to begin to observe. You want to learn again. I think one of the things that is happening with parenting is to just feel it's just parenting. Especially when you tell people to take parenting courses, they tell you, just to parent. It's not a big deal. Parenting is now a big deal because what parenting used to be when you were giving birth to, most of our parents were home. Maybe father goes to work, the mother was always home, taking care of the children. But now mothers are also working, fathers are working. There's really no time. So it's important that parents now start learning. There is an intentionality in learning, even observing, to say, my child is showing me certain traits. What trait is this child showing me? And what am I picking from this? How do I script my child based on what I am observing from this child? And that's why I say there are certain stages in the life of a child, or rather with parenting. So the first one would be for you to scout. At age 0 to about 3, you're checking your child. What are the traits that my child is exhibiting that I need to pay attention to? At that tender age, you would see that some of them are very good with technology. You could already operate a lot of things. Some of them are already showing that they're musical. Some of them show different types of skills that they want you to pay attention to. So when you're scouting at age 0 to about 3, from 4 to about 6, you're modeling. This is where you want to build the values into them, because I hear parents say, oh, this generation has sports. You are grooming them. They're coming up from your house. And then I believe that family is the production factory of the society. If we say that our country is corrupt, it means that our families are corrupt.
So wait, just a quick one. On the 4 to 6 year old, when you talk about...
You're modeling.
Modeling.
After you've scouted from 0 to 3 to see what I observe about my child, then you're modeling certain values into that child at that age.
In what way? Because there are those who believe that, he's just a child, he wants to cry, he wants biscuit, give him, he wants chicken, give him, and all those things. So when you say modeling, exactly what are you talking about?
So a parent says, my child is done eating and he leaves his plate on the table and doesn't pick it. Mommy, you are done eating, you left your plate on the table. these are things you model. It's different from one family to another. So it would then come to, as a family, do you have a family vision? Do you have values to say, these are the values that drive everyone from this family? So these values are what you begin to model. Do I want to teach integrity to my child? So, you know, growing up, when someone comes to the house, your mom will tell you, tell them I'm not home. And then you come back to say your child is lying. You modeled lying to that child. You want your child to laze or a bed when they are up from the bed. You model it. They come into your room. You do the same. You begin to teach them, because children will do what you do, not what you tell them.
The child may go and tell the guest, my mother said to tell you that she's...
This generation of children
Well, you know, because
that.
they don't even know how.
They would even question you. Say, Mom, why do I have to go lie?
Exactly.
They'll question you.
Now, still on this matter, I mean, I'm talking about modeling. Just for someone, you know, listening right now, watching and wondering what we're talking about. So this child is used to hearing mommy say, Nkechi, come and carry my plate. Will the child also call Nkechi?
Most likely, that's what the child will do.
So if mommy tells Bayo, take your plate to the kitchen and come, Nkechi, come and carry my own.
That's exactly, see, it's modeling. So this child, so I've had a case where a parent says, oh, I don't like how my daughter talks to people. She's so rude. The first question I asked is there someone in the house who does exactly the same? And then, yes, there was someone. See, the fact that you have helps in the house, they are there to make life easy for you. But they are also there to mentor your children, if you allow them to. So the values that you want to impute in your children, regardless of what the helps are there to do for you, you model what you want your children to become. Okay. Regardless of the help.
We really do. I wish we had more time to this. But you know, let's speak about teenagers, young adults, and the rest of them. I've seen enough movies to say the child goes into the room, slams the door on the mother.
And then you are thinking, that can't be my mother, you're finished.
That can't even be my child. Your life will not remain the same again.
At all. You will get backhand.
So in terms of discipline for these kids, in terms of discipline, you know, it would seem that generally, you know, the young adults today, teenagers, they just don't have legs. They just do it the way they want and all of those things. Because some get it on Twitter and they are watching and seeing the way the conversations are going. They're wondering, what kind of generation do we have on our hands because of the mode of communication and all of that? Is there a reason for that? Is there a way to reverse the trend?
I work with a lot of teenagers, and oftentimes when parents come around, they say, oh, my child is so rude, oh, my child is this. Before that child became a teenager, the child passed through you. There's some certain things, certain values that you should have imputed in the child that you have not. But let's say that we're here. Oftentimes we say teenagers are rude, they don't pay attention, and they don't want to do what you ask them to do. But as parents, sometimes we also don't teach them, we don't treat them as humans. So your daughter is in her room. You barge into the room and say, oh, I need you to do this for me now. She has a day planned out. You were not in that schedule. But because you are the father or you are the mother, you feel like you have earned the right.
Slow down.
So just barge in.
Slow down, slow down, please.
Forgetting that this child has
Mrs.
plans.
We're talking about a room in my house.
That's what we're saying.
For
in
which
your
I
house.
am paying the rent.
Of course.
Okay.
In my house.
I understand.
Chopping my food.
Of course.
Paying school fees for you.
Of course.
You have your day planned out.
You know, but
Who
really,
the holy?
things have changed. You cannot use the old curriculum for the new generation. You're using the old curriculum.
My daughter
so
at
we
15,
should give them leeway.
That's not what I've said.
Oh, okay.
My daughter at 15. Wait, my daughter at 15 say, Daddy, if you know what I'm going through, I say, eh?
What are you going through?
Which house rent are you paying? Which school fees are you paying? That
But
you
they're
are
going through a lot
something.
themselves. They're going through stuff.
Help us understand that. No,
What are they going through?
Seriously speaking, help us understand it, because that understanding is lost on many people, many parents.
Many parents.
So being on the one, because the parent has a life to live. The parent has to contend with, the economy, provide for the family and all of those things. And now I have to contend with this kid. So maybe because parents don't understand what the children are going through, they are not able to really understand what's going on. I asked you to do this for
Like,
your
I'm
sake.
paying all the bills. What are you doing? What are you worried about?
Help us understand what the children are going through and what parents need to factor in.
There are a whole lot. So I'm going to give you a series of examples as they come to me. So you have a teenager who just joined school, is probably struggling to, settle in. And oftentimes parents, I want the best education for my child. And then you take your child to a school where majority of the students there are all rich kids. They can get all the things that they want when they want it. They have drivers bringing them. This child probably doesn't have the same, because you have just struggled and managed to ensure that this child has the same education as this other student. Now, there are certain things that you have not discussed with your child to say, I have done so much to ensure that you also get this level of education. But there are certain things. So these students come back and say, some of my friends, they went to Dubai for holiday, they went this for holiday. You can't afford that. You can only get this child to school. But you're not even sitting to have a conversation to say, this is the reason why we cannot do this. So this child is asking, Mommy, when are we going on vacation? You say, which year? We're not going to any vacation. Do you even know how I'm paying your school fees?
Go to the village.
Please, we'll just go and greet your auntie that stays at Ilupeju and all of that. And then this child, she cannot understand it. They can't. Because you have not had a conversation. The child comes to say, Mommy, I want this. No explanation as to, I can't afford this now. And this reason is because of 1, 2, 3. You just said, no, you can't have it. Now, this child goes back to school. Peer pressure is coming in, setting in, to say, how do I ensure that I also get these things that my friends... It's a whole lot. Sometimes it's academics. They are reading, not because they don't want to read, but they are. It's just not getting in. One of the teenagers said, you don't understand, I'm reading so much. I read a lot. But then I get into the exam hall, I'm just anxious. I can't get to write all the things that I have read. That child doesn't come back home and you're shouting. So with all the money I'm spending, that's not what the child needs. You probably want to sit with the child to understand exactly what is happening. Could it be fear of the teacher who taught them? Could it be examination anxiety? Do you want to get professional help to say, how do I help my daughter through this? And sometimes it could be the hormones. They're teenagers. A lot of things are changing in their body. They don't understand. And you are not even having those conversations with them. So I have a teenage, she used to be a teenager, she's an adult now. She's in medical school. She's in her room. She could read all 12 hours. And then my mom would then say, this girl is so lazy. I told her, no, that's not laziness. You want her to do the things that she's not interested in. You are not having conversations. She's read over the night, and in the morning she's sleeping. In the morning is when you come, and then you live in an environment where if you want to buy anything, you need to walk like 5-10 minutes to get to any shop whatsoever to buy whatever it is you want to buy. And then you barge into her room and say, I need you to stand up and go to some place and buy me something. And she's saying, Mommy, I need to sleep. And you're saying, what, did you breastfeed a baby overnight? And they are always having issues. And I had to sit both of them down when I said, see, this is a challenge. You both need to agree. What do you want me to do today? Mommy, let me factor you into... But parents just feel, no. It's my house. I feed you. I do all of this. You hold me your life, and they know. They are also humans, and we need to respect them.
Okay. It's a pity that we are running out of time completely. But the long and short of what I have gathered from what you have said today is we need to have conversations with our children in this day and
time,
age.
so that we don't slap our truth
Not
on
like
them.
when we were growing up, conversation.
Who is conversing
Who are
with
you? Converse with you. I give you the order and you do it.
Otherwise.
So that time is gone. We need to converse with them.
That's why they call them
Ask
Sorosuke
their
generation.
opinion. These millennials,
You can slap.
It's all right.
Well,
We will try not to slap.
You can slap your truth on them because they want to have a conversation. So you tell him, stand up. He wants to understand why.
He will ask me why.
Let's just close this conversation like this.
Sorry, time. I mean, our time is up, but we have learned a thing or two.
We have to continue the conversation.
We have to bring you back sometime because this has to be continued. Thank you very much, Motolani, Mrs. Motolani Falabi, Family Life Consultant. Thank you very much for coming. You have opened a can of worms, I promise.
I'm happy she didn't say we'll close. Why?
We'll be right back with the home stretch. Stay with us.